welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download the app, make sure you rate, and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now, on CFL Talk, joining me as usual, the pretty one, David Morassutti, and of course, the athletic, let's just say, the athletic person that helps players become so much better, Amanda Ruller. Amanda, you're the running backs coach of course, the McMaster Marauders. First of all, tell us how you fell into the game of football.
Well, you definitely don't just fall into it. I've been in it quite a long time, but I think now it's just come to light that I'm in it because I think when you start in anything, you silently grind through things you need to do to get to where you want to go. So even at a younger age, I was on my university track and soccer team. So I was the first female dual sport athlete ever at the University of Regina. Then I moved on to doing Team Canada bobsled and skeleton. From there, I went to the States and participated in football after the Legends League for 7 years at LA and Atlanta. And then I played on Team Canada Women's World Football Team. And now I compete in Olympic lifting. So I actually hold the snatch and clean and jerk record within my province of Saskatchewan. And I just grinded silently coaching a lot of people. I was the University of Regina Rams speed sprint conditioning coach, which is so cool to work with those athletes. And there's never been any females working within U Sport football ever. And now I'm the first running backs coach at McMaster as a female and breaking those barriers for more women within U Sport and beyond.
Yeah, obviously, some of the powerlifting that you do is also lifting the weight of some of the new roads that you've helped to explore. How does that feel?
Oh, it feels great. I'm very strong and confident in who I am, and I'm also doing the strength and conditioning, assistant strength and conditioning for the football team as well. So that's my specialty because I hold all those records within lifting in my province, and it's great to showcase that and show the athletes how to lift properly because that's what I'm really good at, and I'm just developing as a football coach. And then I get on the football field and I also see them there, so I'm with them all day long, all the time. So I'm developing such a deep level of understanding of them as athletes, and I'm able to help them grow and thrive and be the best athlete they can possibly be.
Let's bring David Morassutti in, Amanda. David?
Well, I mean, Amanda, I read your story months ago when it was published, and I felt like saying, like it. I mean, first off, great news that we're introducing female voices and females into the coaching ranks because I felt like that Canada was kind of lagging behind a lot of the other sports, especially down in the NFL when you look at how many of them are being recognized down there. Um, just maybe your when people kind of discuss your journey, do you feel like there's still those who are hesitant towards, having more female voices, not just coaching, but just in general in the football world?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, just like anything that's kind of going to shake things up, people push against, right? And with me, I'm looking for diversity, equity, and inclusion within football in general. And I'm trying to push that. And there's a lot of people that don't want to see that. And I'm going to keep pushing. I'm not going to be silent. A lot of people have told me to be quiet and just play my role. And I'm not going to do that at all. So I'm going to keep pushing for what I want and how I see this going forward. And eventually, something's gonna topple, and I'm gonna be able to say that I was even part of that.
And
I think
funny
part of
enough,
it also is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I know, funny enough, I mean, you mentioned that, and people have this idea about women, and oh, they can't play this because they're not strong enough. I watched your videos, your weightlifting videos. Let's just say I think a lot of people have a misconception about that because I watched you run, do your runs. I watched you do your weightlifting. And I think that's totally. I think that preconceived notions has gone out the window, and I just wanted to highlight that because I feel like you're breaking down a significant barrier right now that needs to be broken down in this country.
Yes. Even if I was to go back to university, let's say we rewind the clock, I was just as fast as all the guys on the football team because I was in track and field. And I know this because now I'm in it and I'm timing them and I'm watching them lift. I'm just as competitive as them. I'm strong enough to be part of that competition rank. So I was never told growing up that I couldn't do anything, I couldn't be strong, I couldn't be athletic. So I have no idea about these people saying that women can't do these things because I was like, really? I've never heard of that until you get deep within the industry and you put yourself out there on social media. It sucks to hear that. And I want to just eliminate that altogether. I don't want anyone going forward thinking that women can't do anything they put their mind to, no matter what it is. If it's working within football, for media, even, those women, because I did sports football media, those women get put down quite a bit because they were told, you don't know anything about the sport, which is insane to me. Of course you do. Lots of men in coaching positions didn't play the sport. I have the unique advantage because I did play, I did media, I worked in football, and now I coach. So I'm a triple Beyonce threat when it comes to football. And yet still people put me down and say, I don't know what I'm talking about. So you just don't listen to those people.
You know, there's I think the first hurdle that women have to go over is get over. No, not get over. The first hurdle that people in general have to
Frank, I can't hear
eliminate.
you.
Oh, no, can neither of you can hear me?
I can hear you,
Hello?
Frank.
Oh,
okay.
Weird.
Um, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I guess
No,
Amanda
I
can.
can't.
Can you hear me, Amanda?
I can hear you, which is really weird, but not.
Oh, it must be
Maybe
the
you can
channel.
relay the message. I don't know.
I'll relay the message. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah.
Okay. All I was trying to ask was feeling threatened. Maybe people don't react as well as they should. So it's not so much. Yeah. You heard me ask the question, David. You can ask it. Or did you?
Well, I
Okay.
mean, yeah, I guess a lot of people, they do feel threatened when they see somebody who's, in a position of power that maybe they hadn't been accustomed to seeing, So like when you try, I mean, when you went for the McMaster, were you recruited for the McMaster job, or was that something you applied for? How did that come about? Maybe if I ask that first.
Yeah, I applied on my own. I saw the listing and I applied for it, and nobody asked me to apply. I did the interview in front of, they had, oh my gosh, quite a few people on the Zoom call. It was like very long. And I actually did a presentation on everything I know about football, as well as I was questioned every aspect of it. And they actually went into detail about my character, asking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I think that's so huge to ask that because I think going forward, we need more of that. And if people are threatened by
Eduardo.
things that are out of the norm, that's their problem. Because I've
What?
never been threatened by things that are out of the norm. If you don't change something, it's not going to grow. So that I've had that mindset my entire
Oh, okay.
life. I moved from Saskatchewan to be here. So nothing in my mindset makes me feel like I feel sorry for you that you can't handle change.
And when you were what was the biggest challenge when you first talked with worked with your athletes and your players? What was that first challenge for you?
I think just catching up to the schemes and things that McMaster had in place, because you're just learning right at that point because you're a new coach coming in. I just wanted to learn what their philosophy was and what they're about, and me learning all the everything that comes with that. So I think me just playing catch up at that point, that was the hardest part, to just get right into coaching football there.
Now, we met at media day on Thursday, and we looked into that room, and it was you, Sarah Lesky, and there was also Christina, who was working for CFL.ca. And I said to you, I said, this is a rare occurrence that we have three in a room. What was your thought when you walked in there and you saw a room full of men? There were some females there, but not.
Yeah.
There was a clear, over how I put it, there was a clear majority in that room.
I was quite upset, actually. I'm not even going to lie to you. I actually mentioned it to somebody else. I said, why is there no women in this room at all, especially on a media day? And nobody could answer me. no one could answer me. And I just said, why aren't we giving? And I know, because I've been working in media and football for such a long time, I know that there's women that want to be there, that have been trying to be there. And it's crazy. Like I was even asked to just come volunteer. Like I wasn't even paid to be there, but I came on my own accord. And why aren't we fostering these women to be in media? That was crazy to me. I could not believe it. And that's the first thing I noticed. Maybe that's because I'm laser focused on inserting more women in the industry. So that's the first thing I noticed when I walked in that room, and I asked people about it. And I was pretty assertive about it. And I even went up to one of the coaches. I don't want to name who, but I asked, "Are you guys thinking about implementing a women's or even a diversity internship within the CFL going forward?" Because I want to challenge them. I'm so sick of what's going on.
Well, and the funny thing here is, not too long ago, Randy Ambrosie went on CNN because of the whole diversity of strength campaign that the CFL had. Oh, hey, Aaron, nice for you to join us. When you and it's quite ironic because yes, I believe the CFL has done a good job of accepting diverse, voices of diversity, but then we're seeing clearly that it's not being practiced in the way it should be, as you just pointed out. Um, have you had? I know you talked to the coaches there about trying to implement. Do you feel like it needs to go further than that, and not just at the coaches, but even higher up to the board of governors, those who are in charge, and namely Randy Ambrosie?
Oh, I think that they know. I don't think
What's
that it's
going
nothing.
on?
No, we can hear Frank. We can hear you. This is
Oh,
weird. Can you hear Frank, Aaron?
I can, yes. I just
I
heard him
can
ask what
now.
was going on.
All right, Eduardo, do we want to get Frank back on because we can hear him? Sorry, Eduardo. Hopefully, I know they're working. Frank was having some audio issues, but while we try to get Frank on, but Amanda, you know, do you think there is I hate to put this on you, but do you feel like maybe this is something you have to usher forward, or is this something you're willing to usher forward in trying to create opportunities for people like yourself?
I am ushering it forward. I'm trying as hard as I can. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm on every show. I'm doing everything. I'm in coaching. I've inserted myself in many situations people told me I shouldn't be in. Um, I don't know how else. Like, what else can I do that's not me being at the top of this totem pole? I've met with tons of people at the top telling them, and it's tough because they can't do anything about it. So at this point, like, I don't know how else to scream it at them, but it will be the for every time I do it, there'll be somebody else. Like maybe next year, I don't want to say maybe next year we will have more women in U Sport, even, which is insane to me. U Sport football, and then they'll be screaming alongside with me saying this is not right. We need to move forward. We need to get with the times. The NFL has 110 women working within the CFL or NFL within the capacity of scouts, a VP of operations. We have coaches, strength and conditioning, nutrition, 110 women. That is insane. We don't have any in the CFL. We have some strength and conditioning coaches, I will tell you that. But we have no one within the CFL, women, that are going to foster these initiatives going forward. And I know it was a tough year. I'm not trying to blame it on anything like that. They had to get rid of some positions. Unfortunately, we don't have those women now in place, right? Some were let go. Going forward, we need to, when we make these cuts, we need to consider bringing them back or making sure that we are going forward in the right directions. And even if you are implementing an internship, it's an internship, it's free. How is it going to even cost you any money? And because I'm a diverse individual or whoever you're hiring, sometimes it doesn't count towards your salary cap, right? So I don't see how this isn't a win-win.
I was just about to say that I think when I heard Randy Ambrosie talk about that coaching cap during his State of the League, I felt like that was. I know now. I kind of understood part of the reason why he said it is because the players want to make sure that clubs who are crying poor are spending money in the right ways. But I also feel like when you put a cap on something, well, then team decisions get impacted, and they're going to say, well, we really have to be very frugal with who we hire. We have to be very selective. So maybe we're not going to give that woman that opportunity, as you kind of alluded, and which
But
I
then
think is wrong.
But then why would you not just hire? I'm not saying to downgrade my who I am, but why would you not just hire me and pay me the bare minimum, like like a little that I'm coming in? Like that's my question. Is you want to develop all these women and you want to give them the opportunity and you want more women audience within the CFL and younger audience, but you're not even doing a damn thing about it.
I think
well,
right.
David, David, I think what really needs to happen is we're talking about diversity in the Canadian Football League, right? That's what we're talking about. So now with diversity, it's more than just, whether it's race, color, creed. It's also sex as well. So the issue here is more or less an eye-opening situation where a person like Amanda, whom I'm getting the very, very clear indication is very, let's say, motivated to make things happen. And Amanda, I congratulate you on that, and I support you on being very motivated. Unfortunately, in life, sometimes the challenge has to be met, and it's not always met in the normal way.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Exactly. So I'm trying to find out of the norm. How can you get around it? And I'm exhausting every avenue. And you know what? I'm not going to give up. Like that's the point, I think, of this story is that I'm not giving up at where I am. And the amount of people that push me out, I'm just going to jump back in 10 times forward because I got a really good broad jump and I'm ready to push and make sure that I implement things in place for more women in the future. So I just want to be that pioneer. I don't care how I do it. It could be 5 years, it could be 10 years from now. But you will honestly talk to me 10 years from now and I'll be like, look at all the change we made.
Yeah, part of that change, if I may make a suggestion and be a bit of a devil's advocate here, it also you have to figure out how to frame your message and use from time to time velvet gloves, because I think people don't like to be told what to do, even when what they're being told to do is correct and decent and should be done. So there's that too. Part of the intensity that you have in doing this is well-founded. You're more than justified to do it, but I'm just asking you to look on the other side, and maybe people like us can help you, and I think we will. I'm not afraid to. I'm an in-your-face kind of person as well, but I'm just telling you something that I've heard about myself sometimes. I get too intense and don't leave room for people to take a breath and understand. I hope I'm making a point here. I'm trying to be the devil's advocate here.
Are you just saying that, Frank, because Aaron is now in here? Are you trying to say something to Aaron right now?
Am I? Am
Yeah.
I trying to say something to Aaron? Well, unfortunately, Amanda doesn't know the history of this show. Aaron is very opinionated, and he has a very direct line that he wants to go down, right? And we all have a right and a belief that we should be heard. And I'm just making that point as, people are looking for excuses not to listen to people. That's my point.
So, Aaron, just so we can get you into the conversation, I know, and look, Aaron, I know you've got experience, seeing how sports that don't necessarily have the biggest audience are trying to find ways to get a new audience. Everything Amanda just said, does that make sense to you?
It does. The issue that you run into here is more often than not, these sorts of institutions are protected by the old guard, and it's the necessity to break down that inherent patriarchy that's already there that can be the most difficult thing to do. And for those individuals that do manage to break the barriers, that is absolutely amazing. And the work that people have been doing, such as yourself, Amanda, to try to broaden these horizons is great to see. But it also needs more support from people like myself and who are on the side of the patriarchy just based on the way that we were born. We have to try to make the changes as well. So it's not just reliant on outside individuals trying to break into the industry. I mean, even the AHL now has 10 female referees that are currently there, and they recently had an openly homosexual referee his first game in the AHL. So there's strides that are being made there. It's not the same representation as you see in the NFL, or that we'd like to see, but it's a start.
So, there's Frank now. Hey, we see you now. And Amanda, I think this is an important conversation, and one I think that needs to continue going forward. Just what are your plans for the Grey Cup? Just because I know you were there covering. Are you planning to do some sort of coverage? What are you looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, I'm doing a coverage story at the Grey Cup, so I will be there watching the game and involved with the crowd and everything. So I'm really excited.
And speaking of the game,
you had a chance to talk to some players. Give us your view of the kind of work that the players need to do and what you expect from them based on your knowledge of their, from a coaching perspective.
The work that they need to put in now for the Grey Cup?
Well, the work that they put in and how important the kind of work that they need to.
The work that they've put in so far has been astronomical. They have to get up at, I've heard even from Adam Bighill, like he gets up at 5 a.m. to watch film. That's exactly the lifestyle that you need to be producing as a high-level CFL athlete. And that's what I try to instill in my athletes. You got to get up, you got to watch that film, you got to make it to meetings, and it's an all-day grind. So football is a limitless pursuit of knowledge for the game. So you could watch as much film as you want, but sometimes you still won't come to the conclusion without putting in the practice. So these guys have put in hours of film study. They've been on the field, they've been in the weight room, even just seeing the guys in the weight room. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are still, even this week at McMaster, in the weight room, which is awesome to see them going through their routines. So right now they just need to go through routines, relax, get ready for this really big game, and execute. It's something they've been doing the entire year, and I think they're ready to go, and it's exciting to see these amazing athletes and gentlemen do what they do.
Yeah, they've all the players, all the coaches have said stay to the routine. And it's got to be a little difficult for Winnipeg, because not that McMaster can't afford them everything they need. They just can't afford them everything they need the way they're accustomed to.
What else would that be?
Yeah, exactly.
What else would they need to have for?
No, I'm just saying they're on the road. They're on the road.
It's on the road. Okay, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. They're on the road. Yeah, they're on the road. I think they practiced there when they come there. McMaster's very popular with all the teams in the CFL when it comes to being a home base when they're on the road playing, in Hamilton. I think even in Toronto. But anyway, Aaron, you got a question for her?
Nothing at this time, Frank.
Okay. David?
Well, I mean, my question is, you got a chance to talk to the running backs. And in this game, I feel like running backs are going to play a bigger factor than I think that. I don't think they get talked enough in the CFL. They're starting to get there a little bit more. But I feel like we have two teams that have running backs that can, have an impact in this game, namely Andrew Harris, and even on the other side with Don Jackson. Did you get a chance to talk to both of them, and what were their kind of mindsets?
Yeah, I am excited. I got to talk to Andrew Harris. Obviously, great athlete. Very admire him from being a running backs coach and seeing him go to work. Great athlete, hard worker, and it was cool to see and chat with him. Are you ready for the game? He's very calm, and he knows what he needs to do, and he's going to execute. I think I even actually went to a Bills game the other day, and out of the 49 plays, the Patriots ran 46. So if it's going to be as windy as that, we're going to see a little bit more run game involved in the Grey Cup. But I'm from Saskatchewan, so it was a perfect Saskatchewan windy day anyway. But we might see a little bit more run game here at the Grey Cup, which I'm excited for. I'm a running backs coach, so I love seeing that kind of stuff.
Let's talk about Saskatchewan. I am not surprised that your roots go back to Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan is a very football-oriented province. Football has a very large footprint there. Speak to the large footprint that Saskatchewan has and how welcoming that province is to the game.
Oh, I think when you're born, they kind of inject you with maybe green pride, because everyone there is a Rough Rider fan, and if you're not, they'll call you out about it. So even from a young age, and I think this is why I started loving football, my family had season tickets, so they would take me to every single Rough Rider game. And I remember specifically asking my dad, I said, hey, can women play football? Because I was, young. And he said, you can do whatever you want to do. And that spun me going into women's just like touch football and getting to know it from there. Because I never thought that women couldn't play at all until I think entering this world and being told like women can't play, women can't do media, women can't be in football. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was never told that growing up. So Saskatchewan is Rough Riders. That's exactly, they sell the most merch in the CFL. If not, they topple other teams with merch. Rider pride is huge there. You will see everybody wearing their jerseys on game day, out and about through the town. And that's all everyone talks about. And I actually personally love it because I love the game so much. It was amazing growing up there and being part of something that's bigger than yourself, being a community and a family within Rider Nation. So I even actually was the game day host of the Saskatchewan Roughriders for their inaugural season for the 2017 when they got the new stadium. And I was doing rider media up until this year, up until the Grey Cup. So I've been inserted within Rider Pride for a really long time.
Yeah, the thing that people should know, and I want you all to listen to this, and I don't mean you three, I mean anybody else who's listening to this. 1 million people, not in Regina, in the province, support that team to the degree that they do. And all one has to do to figure out how much Regina and Saskatchewan love their team is just stand in the middle of Mosaic Field, and you'll get an idea how much they love football.
Oh yeah, so we're a province of 1.3 million, and 1 million support the Rough Riders. Isn't that crazy to think about that stat in general? And even Regina's 250,000, and every single person supports the Riders in this at the game because we sell out every time. So 33,000 go in the stands, which I think is just the biggest turnout. I'm fortunate enough to have been to every stadium CFL based in my lifetime, and I've never seen that good of a turnout ever.
Let's get to your goals, and I know we talked about the barriers you're trying to break, but what do you have going on that you're that's working for you that you can use as sort of a jumping off point for everything that you're trying to do? I hope you understand my question.
Yeah. So my ultimate goal is to be the first female positional coach within the CFL, and it is going to happen. I'm working on it, and my jumping off point is being as loud as I can about wanting to insert myself within the industry, because that's going to change the mindsets of people working there. Right now, I'm trying my best working with U Sport, I think gaining more knowledge, because you're not going to have a coach just come in based on, okay, she's female, let's bring her in and give her a chance. Or you would never hire a coach just like that. But I have to prove who I am, my knowledge about coaching, give some results within where I'm coaching. And I think that speaks volumes. And me just acknowledging that, I think, is huge, because I'm someone that wouldn't just hire someone on a whim. And I know that. So I got to work for the goals that I want to achieve.
Yeah, David, you talked about the opportunity that women should get. We have Canadians, imports. Now we have internationals. And I guess maybe in the coaching ranks, and I've heard it from Amanda, and I heard from her personally, that she's willing to work, and I hate saying it because I don't like it, for free. Why don't we wonder and ask the CFL why they can't include one woman on the coaching staff? A real position, though, not just have a woman on the coaching staff, just so you have a woman on the coaching staff, but a real position with a real responsibility, with the opportunity to show that they can do what needs to be done.
I think it goes about who's the one calling the shots, right? If you don't have
the CFL calls the shots on imports, right?
They do, but I'm saying, look at the gender of the people who are calling the shots, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about the gender. David, that's the problem here. This is where I side with Amanda, and I get impatient with stuff like this. It's not a question of convincing them. We're way past convincing them that a woman should be part of the coaching staff. They're everywhere. So I don't understand how a woman can't be included in that group. Canadian, import, or non-import, international. and why not a woman? I mean, we're talking about inclusion. We're talking about, let's walk the walk. It's just, see, now I'm going to start, Amanda. See, I told you I'm a lot like you are. I get impatient because sometimes, and this isn't David's fault. It's the
Well, but I'm
thinking
just
process.
explaining it, Frank, because
Okay,
you're
go ahead. I'm
saying,
sorry. Go ahead.
why isn't it there? Well, because the people in the position of power haven't made it a priority, and that's the problem. I'm not making an excuse for them, because it's not. There should be no excuse for it. I'm on
But
your. But
I know,
that's
no. I know you're on my
yeah.
side, but what I'm trying to say here is, the carrot and the stick, right, Amanda? And sometimes you're really tempted, and Aaron, you too. Sometimes we're tempted to use the stick because the carrot isn't working.
And well, I just think we just need more. I think what it really comes down to is people like us, and not just Amanda, but other fans. A lot of people need to start speaking up more, and it's because the CFL has always made it a claim that they want to listen to what the fans have to say. Well, I think the fans need to start pushing for this a lot more. You know, I think there was a comment made. I can't remember which owner made it, Frank. You can probably help me with this. But he
Okay.
said, you look out at the crowd and it's a bunch of old white men. I can't remember
Right.
which owner said it, but it was said. And I mean, I look at, fan bases like Saskatchewan. I look at Winnipeg. I think they probably do a lot better job of cultivating a culture that brings in, fans of different, it's not just men that are going to the games. It's women, it's families, it's everyone being involved. And I think, again, this all comes down to having the voice of people who want change and not keep things the way they are. Because I feel like the CFL, they've said they've made strides to change things from the past, but until you see it with people like Amanda and who deserve these opportunities, not to be given these opportunities, but have rightfully deserved the opportunities. And I think that's a part of the message that needs to be clear here, is that we're saying that it needs to happen because it deserves to happen.
Amanda, I feel as though, and I'm very getting defensive, and I totally admit it, which is part of the point that I was talking about. Sometimes people don't listen because it's impossible. It's impossible to understand. But what I want to say is this: I apologize because I missed an opportunity while at press conferences, various opportunities to talk to the people who actually can make change, starting with the commissioner of the Canadian Football League, and not asking that question. I failed you. And I think I have to stop failing you. When I say I don't just mean me. I mean I and anyone else in my position. So I apologize for failing you. And what I do promise you is that I will, I may not be able to be as, I may have to use velvet gloves, as the CFL referred to me. I asked a question of Brandon Banks because of his emotional issues that he's been challenged in. And I was told that I asked the question in the way that I had velvet gloves. So that's part of the reason why I was talking to you about that, because sometimes people don't listen because they feel like they're being dictated to. But sometimes that's what has to happen. And until people like me help you, you can't relax and just do what you're trying to say, because sometimes you have to raise your voice just to be heard. And anyway, that how do you feel about the fact that um, working with other people like us and making a tour of it and finding out who else can help raise the awareness? That's all this is. It's about being aware that there are very unhappy women out there who feel cheated, and literally cheated, out of having a fair opportunity to do, and this is the part that's most important to me, do what they love. I mean, denying somebody what they love to do is, I know myself, that's one of the most hurtful things that I could feel.
Oh yeah, it's definitely quite a challenge. And I think that doing stuff like this and talking to other people, that's where we start the conversation. It has to start somewhere. Just like as if you were an advocate for anything, right? If people are supporting whatever issue it may be, this is my issue and I will take it on. So I always live by like the advice, like you either stand for something or fall for everything. So I'm going to stand on this issue and not back down, not be hesitant, because I've been told a lot, just like, be quiet, play your role. And I am very sick of that. And I'm not going to be doing that ever. So moving forward, we're going to unite as a team and make sure, like you and I and everyone else is going to push this issue forward. And hopefully, when it comes to making a decision, they have, okay, if they have a diverse internship, they'll hire me or another woman. And then that will lead to somebody being hired without that title. They'll be hired as a coach, and it doesn't matter who you are. You'll be hired as a coach because you're the best person for the job. And that's my
And
hopes for this.
And it's not just that you're the best person for the job, that there doesn't have to be, oh, she's a woman, so there must be. Now, how is it what she's done is important as a woman? You're right. It'd be great if they just hired somebody and said, Linda, blah, 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 is hired for, and it ends there. She isn't the first woman. She isn't the second woman. She's just another person with a job, getting a job.
Yes, I actually, when I was talking with the athletes at the press media, the media day, I was asking them specifically, have you ever been coached by a woman? Like, we got into a conversation, and some of them have, and they were like, oh my gosh, I would support that 100%, a woman being within the CFL rankings as a positional coach or whatever that may be, strength and conditioning, nutrition. I want to see more of that. And that's coming from players. And I didn't even expect them to say that. I didn't bait them to say that. We were just having a conversation. And that's really, really cool to hear on my end, because I didn't even know that's where they stood on that. And now that I hear that, I know it's coming from up top and not down below.
Go ahead, David.
No, I know. I totally agree. I think it's easier when the voice is coming from up top, because sometimes the voices down below don't get heard enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's about acknowledgement, right? At the end of the day, you want to be acknowledged. You want your concerns heard, but not just heard, but echoed. Reflected back on you, because if you're the only one, if you're the only one talking and nobody responds to what you're saying, it's like you're not being heard, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Sometimes that's okay, because I'll just keep pushing one person over until more and more are being heard. Some people say, because I am very vocal on social media, some people say, why do you keep pressing on social media? Why do you keep bringing this issue up when you can just coach and keep your head down and keep grinding? And I said, you know what, if I could just reach 30 people within a post on social media, that's a classroom. You're filling a small classroom. So I've reached just 30 people that are going to share that message and that are inspired by me. And I think that's very powerful. And when you think that you don't reach anyone, I think that's when you lose sight of maybe the bigger goal and you just give up.
Amanda, there's an opportunity always to make allies, make friends. I can assure you that you have three here. I know that we probably, the three of us, come at it from a different angle, but I know this for sure. I know it already of David, and I know it of Aaron. I just want to make sure people understand that my heart's in the right place when it comes to this. But sometimes I feel I have to take, at least be the devil's advocate from the other angle, because my intent is to find a solution. And sometimes solutions aren't found by any one individual, one individual thought, one individual method. It's like Pinball Clemens says, I don't need to be the smartest person in the room. And none of us needs to have all the answers. But together, maybe we can all come up with a good answer about anything.
No, I think you're totally right. I agree, Amanda, that, if you can reach some, the message can spread a lot more, and not saying anything and not doing anything is just counterproductive. Even if you reach a few people, some might say, oh, we didn't really reach that many, but just reaching those few just shows that we're somehow pushing the message even slowly forward. Doing this, I'm hoping it helps get it out a little bit to a few more people. That's why we wanted to have you on.
Good. No, I love that. And yeah, thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. And again, this is, this is a perfect example, Amanda, of what we're talking about. We have Amanda on, a person with a deep history of football, an understanding of the game, has experience in coaching, yet we've spent 90% of the time asking or talking about, why isn't Amanda doing more? And that's at the root of the problem. That is the real part of the, I'll call it the disease that society has, and in football circles, I think part of the problem, man, is that we're not an empathetic bunch. We're taught not to be empathetic. It's all about competition, right? So sometimes we don't pay attention to what the referee's saying, because the referee's there to give us all one road to play, so that we play fair. And essentially, the question is, how are we going to be fair to members of our society and be inclusive, and then enjoy the benefits of that? Like David said, it's not about bringing Amanda in to do Amanda a favor. It's about bringing Amanda in, like David says. And David, because we're getting towards the end of the show, and I want to review what we've talked about. It's about opening the fan base, because I'm one of those people that believes participation leads to fandom.
No,
Yes. And then on base level, so what I'm actually doing as well, like I am coaching the McMaster women's flag football as well. And 100 women showed up. 100 women. So that just shows me that they are interested in playing and learning the sport. So getting that base level. And I'm also going to be coaching Team Ontario U18 women's tackle. That has never happened before. And they've never had a female coach within Team Ontario. I am breaking these barriers. I'm getting more women involved to play, to be comfortable within the sport, and they're going to grow into CFL fans, NFL fans. They're going to grow into maybe wanting to coach one day of their own, and that's so exciting. So I'm chipping away at the base level to make them get to that level that I want them to be. Let's get them to make them fans forever of the game that I love. So that's what I'm doing on my end, and I appreciate what we're all talking about.
I felt you wanted to say something there too, David.
No, I think that having programs like this is important, because I think the one thing we need to eliminate is the excuse that, what is out there, right? I think we need, and I hate to say it, but we need more people to step up and offer their time, because a lot of the times I feel like volunteerism isn't always on the top of everyone's minds, because society is kind of, I think, changed and wanting to lend their time, and time is so precious. But I think we need more things like this to happen, because exposure is so important. Exposure is, I think, the number one key to achieving any goal in building something.
I'm trying to gather some knowledge here, Amanda, and what we're talking about. And I'm going to throw something else out there. The problem with bringing women in, or changing any idea or thought, is that it rubs into my routine. Stop fooling around with my routine. Unfortunately, there are some routines that need to be broken, and sometimes people don't even realize that the routine that they're in has a side effect that if they understood. And that's what we're trying to do here, right, Amanda? Isn't that what we're trying to do? Is to help people understand that their routine affects others adversely, or whatever. It's just sometimes we don't see it because we're so focused on our routine. We don't really, I hate to say this, don't care about what's going on around us.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And sometimes the routine needs to be broken, because all coaches, when they hire another coach, they're asking, how can you help us win? We didn't win Grey Cup, or we didn't even make it to the playoffs, or whatever the situation may be. How can you help us win? And that's such a fair question to ask. So if you keep recycling the same coaches over and over and over again, it's just going to be super stale, and you're not going to help your team grow. And I just don't understand why they don't look outward sometimes and see, like, okay, can you help us win? How can you do that? If they just gave me a chance to explain that, I think we would have a little bit more movement, budging right there where I could insert myself.
Totally understand. Aaron and I do some political stuff, and I'll equate it to this, Aaron, and I hope you'll be okay to comment. When we cover the news, and we cover, like, for example, they want to cancel the police, right? They want to cancel the police, and they use terms that are very aggressive. Defund the police. And Aaron and I have this conversation, and Aaron, I think you're going to understand what I'm trying to say here. Maybe saying defunding the police doesn't help. And in our situation that we're talking about right now, maybe we need to ensure that, because words matter and words have impact, we need to basically make an effort to alter the way things are done to be more accommodating. We're not asking to throw out the baby with the bathwater. We're asking for change that includes people. And Amanda, that's my suggestion. I hope the theme that you've gotten from me is I'm trying to help because I'm looking at people that I understand better than you do because I'm in that group. You understand what I'm saying? And I can put myself in their position to hear how Amanda's talking. And I'm wondering, is she just trying to make me angry? I know you're not, but I'm just saying, I'm talking about the group. And Aaron, you know what I'm talking about because we talk about this kind of stuff all the time. I find myself 1 foot because I'm an old guy and I have all these old ideas. Help me to understand what you want. But what I promise you is that I'm empathetic enough to listen and to try to help you make change. Am I making a point, at all with you?
Yeah, of course. No, that all makes
Okay,
sense.
Good. Because that's important for you people that are listening out there. The whole point of these kinds of shows and the whole point of why we do this is conversation to discover what other people are thinking. And also, in this case, finding out what Amanda's thinking and people like Amanda that are all they're asking for is an opportunity to prove that they're as good as the people that they're in essence competing with. That's all. They just want it. That's all. A lot of people, all they want, is just a chance to show what they can do. Right, Amanda?
Exactly. No, that exactly. that.
Aaron, you going to throw something out there? Are you afraid you're going to trip on your tongue? Is that what's happening here? You're afraid to trip on
I'm
your tongue?
afraid if you guys let me ask any questions, I'm basically taking the steering wheel and yanking it hard to the left. We're going to go.
No, but Aaron.
But
Aaron,
I do want to say,
be here.
Frank, you mentioned it right off the top. We've spent a lot of time asking you, Amanda, what are you doing to try to improve the situation? When really, if you look around the screen around you there, we're what has to do the changing. We're the ones that have to say, what can we do to help you? Because I think your record speaks for itself. Your coaching ability, even Taylor working with the wide receivers, with the Marauders, you guys have proven yourselves, I think, more than competent when it comes to this. It's now up to us to recognize that and to make sure that you get a seat at the table because you deserve it. And you can do the job probably better than the 30 or 40 coaches they keep recycling year after year after year. Because you'll notice, and hockey has the same issue. We recycle the same general managers who keep making the same stupid mistakes. We keep recycling the same coaches over and over and over again. And it's us. Fundamentally, we have to change to make sure that your talents and ability are recognized. And like Frank said, we need to do better for you. We need to do better by you. And you guys totally deserve a seat at the table. So that's that. I do, however, have two other questions that I wanted to ask you if Frank and Dave will permit it.
Go ahead.
What? Now you see, now you're making me feel really bad. 10 years you've been here, Aaron, for gosh sakes. Come on, just spit it out.
So
you don't need my permission.
What's it like working with the Rush? And I know that you're doing game day with them. And do you still have the car?
Yes, I'm in Saskatoon right now because there's a game day today.
Yep.
I'm so excited because I'm going to come back for the Grey Cup tomorrow. But there's a game day today and I'm so excited about it. I'm the game day host for the Saskatchewan Rush and it is so much fun. I get in the middle of the field. I welcome everybody. We do tons of contests. I do have this other side of me where I just am super like media centric. I'm a serious coach, but then I can have so much fun doing this other side of me, and working with the Rush has been phenomenal. And I can't wait to go to the game and see everybody today. It's been a while because when I was part of that season, it was canceled due to COVID. And it was so sad to see it go underwater like that, like all live sports, but now it's back and I'm here and I'm so excited. And you guys can follow along on my journey on all social media. I'll be posting tons of clips from the game today. And so I was on The Price is Right and I won a car. That's what he's talking about. And because I'm Canadian, they actually had to cut me a check. So I didn't get the car, but I got the amount that the car was in. So I got around $32,000 and I didn't have a car at the time. So I bought myself a car, which was awesome. When I was on the show and he brought out the car, you could win a new car. I said, Drew, I actually need this. I don't have a car. And later when they did the thumbnail, when you go through your TV guide, the episode was labeled Drew, I Need This, and the thumbnail was of me flexing on stage, which is so funny because Drew Carey tweeted it out that day and said, "You're not going to want to miss this episode. This girl is, she's jacked up." So it was hilarious that he did that. So it was really cool to be on the show. We played the game high-low with the big novelty dice, and I rolled it, and I got the right amount that correlated with the car, won the car, got to do the showcase showdown because I spun a 90 on the wheel. I bid over. I know you guys are sad about that. I think about it every day, but I walked away with a huge check out of the deal.
Well,
Awesome.
You see, that's why I have Aaron on. He's never, as old as I am, I'm always willing to hear new ideas. And I think that's the key to everybody is that, no matter how stuck you are in a certain situation, it would be really nice if people would just at least open a little crack of something that other people have to say. And I'm proud of what you're doing, Amanda. The first time we talked to you, we demanded of ourselves to have you on for the very reason we talked about, most of this time. So I'm really grateful for you to take the time to be with us. And I hope you can make more time to come back and we can talk and maybe even talk about the new job you get.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
David, final thoughts? We've got about a minute.
No, I'm excited to see Amanda to help me with my post game story tomorrow.
Yep.
I'll be bugging her for sure.
And Aaron, thanks for being on the show. It was great having you. I won't be calling you anymore.
Thanks for letting me drop
I'm
it.
just kidding. No, I like the challenge, and I think that's all this is all about, right? In life, we're all looking for an opportunity to rise to the challenges that attract us, to the challenges we want to meet, to the challenges that we care about, the challenges that we want to share with other people. And we want to prove it's not just that we want to prove that we're better than anybody else, because really that isn't really what it's about. It's about being part of everybody else and being included. And unfortunately, we live in a world today that excludes people for no reason except for ignorance. So a strong-minded woman who can flex is on her way to help us understand better. And I know the three of us are sold on the idea of doing our part to help you. I hope we can do that. I really appreciate you being here. David, thanks for being on. Aaron, and of course, Amanda, to you, a very special Amanda Ruller. Thank you for being a McMaster running backs coach. You can say you're welcome or thank you.
Oh.